Welcome to AI Daily Deep Dive, your daily dose of AI news researched and generated entirely by AI. Today, we're diving into some fascinating stories. Get this, AI can apparently read a pig's emotions. We'll also explore why some people are more worried than others about AI taking their jobs, and even uncover a bit of international intrigue with AI-powered surveillance.
It's remarkable how AI is impacting such diverse areas of our lives, isn't it? From farms to global politics, it's really shaken things up.
It sure is. Okay, let's start with those emotional pigs. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen are using machine learning to decode animal emotions based on their sounds, and the results are surprisingly accurate.
What's fascinating is that they analyze vocalizations from 7 different hoofed species, cows, pigs, wild boars, you name it, and achieve nearly 90% accuracy in identifying positive and negative emotions.
So how does AI actually do that? I mean, is it just listening for a happy squeal or a sad grunt?
It's much more nuanced than that. The AI is trained on a massive data set of animal calls, and it learns to identify subtle patterns in acoustics, like changes in pitch frequency and duration that correlate with different emotional states.
So it's kind of like AI is learning the animal's emotional language.
Precisely. And what's even more remarkable is that they found some of these acoustic patterns to be consistent across different species, suggesting there might be a sort of universal emotional language in the animal kingdom.
That's incredible. What are the potential applications of this technology?
The implications are huge. Imagine real-time monitoring of animal well-being on farms, in zoos, even in the wild. We could potentially use this technology to detect stress pain, or even illness in animals before it's outwardly visible.
That would be a game changer for animal welfare. And the researchers have actually made their database of animal calls public, which is fantastic for future research.
Absolutely. It's a great example of open science in action. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about a topic that's been generating a lot of anxiety lately. AI taking over jobs. A new global study by the Max Planck Institute explored which jobs people are most worried about AI replacing.
And the results might surprise you.
Indeed, the jobs that sparked the most fear were, believe it or not, doctors and judges.
Really? Why those professions in particular?
The study suggests that people are particularly concerned about AI's perceived lack of empathy, fairness, and the ability to make those complex moral judgments that are so crucial in fields like medicine and law.
I suppose it's one thing for AI to recommend a product or write a marketing email, but it's quite another to trust it with life or death medical decisions or legal judgments that could impact someone's freedom.
Exactly. And what's also intriguing is that fear levels varied significantly across different countries. Americans, Indians, and Saudis expressed the highest levels of concern, while people in China, Japan, and Turkey were less worried.
It seems like cultural and historical context plays a big role in shaping people's perceptions of AI and its potential impact on the workforce.
Definitely. Now let's move on to a story that feels like it's straight out of a spy thriller. AI-powered surveillance.
Okay, this sounds intriguing. What's the scoop?
OpenAI recently uncovered a Chinese surveillance tool that uses AI to monitor anti-Chinese sentiment on Western social media platforms. It's called peer review. And it seems someone involved in its development inadvertently revealed its existence while using OpenAI's own technology for debugging. The irony is not lost here.
Wow, talk about an accidental leak.
Yeah.
But this raises some serious questions about privacy, freedom of speech, and the use of AI in international relations.
Absolutely. It highlights the ethical and geopolitical complexities of AI and how this technology can be used for purposes that may undermine democratic values and individual rights. It's a stark reminder that we're in a new era of information warfare where AI is a powerful weapon. Speaking of powerful AI, remember those models claiming to have chain-of-thought reasoning abilities, the ones acing math tests and writing code?
Oh yeah, the AI that's supposedly as smart as us, or even smarter. Are they really reasoning or just mimicking human thought processes?
That's the million-dollar question. Companies like OpenAI and DeepSeek are touting these models' abilities to solve complex problems. But some experts are skeptical. They argue that what we're seeing is more like metamimicry. AI imitating the process of reasoning without genuine understanding.
So it's like they're following a recipe without actually knowing why the ingredients work together.
Exactly. And there's some evidence to support this view. Apparently, these supposedly super smart AIs sometimes fail at tasks that seem surprisingly simple for a reasoning being.
Like what? Can they not tell time or something?
Well, some models have struggled with tasks like counting the number of R's in the word strawberry. It's a bit ironic considering they can write code and solve complex equations.
That's a pretty big gap in ability. Does this jagged intelligence pose any risks as AI takes on more responsibility?
It definitely raises concerns. If AI is making decisions based on patterns without true understanding, it could lead to unpredictable outcomes, especially in situations requiring nuanced judgment. Think about self-driving cars or AI-powered medical diagnoses.
Okay, I'm starting to see the problem. So where do we go from here? How do we ensure AI develops in a safe and beneficial way?
That's the challenge, isn't it? We need more transparency in how these models are developed and trained. We also need rigorous testing to identify their limitations and potential biases. Ultimately, responsible AI development requires a collaborative effort between researchers, policymakers, and the public.
It sounds like a lot more research is needed before we can fully trust these reasoning AIs. On a slightly lighter note, let's talk about those robotaxis hitting the streets in China. Pony AI just launched their service in Guangzhou, and it's not just a pilot program.
Right. They're offering rides connecting the city center to major transportation hubs like airports and train stations. It's the first time a robotaxi service has operated on such a large scale and in such complex environments.
It sounds like a huge step towards making autonomous vehicles a reality in our daily lives. Do you think we'll all be hailing robotaxis instead of driving our own cars in the near future?
It's certainly possible. The technology is advancing rapidly, but there are still some hurdles to overcome, especially when it comes to public perception and regulation. People need to feel safe and confident riding in self-driving cars, and governments need to establish clear guidelines for their operation.
But if those hurdles are overcome, the potential benefits are enormous, right? Fewer accidents, less traffic congestion, and more efficient transportation overall.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the potential for increased accessibility for people with disabilities or those who are unable to drive themselves. Robotaxis could significantly improve their quality of life and independence.
That's a great point. It's important to remember that AI has the power to not only automate tasks, but also to create a more inclusive and equitable society. Now, before we wrap up, let's go back to that AI surveillance story.
The peer review tool developed by China is a prime example of how AI can be used in ways that threaten democratic values and individual freedoms.
It's concerning to think that our online activity is being monitored and analyzed by AI algorithms, potentially leading to censorship or even persecution.
The chilling part is that we often don't even know it's happening. This incident underscores the need for stronger privacy protections and greater transparency from governments and tech companies alike.
It's a reminder that we can't just blindly embrace AI advancements without considering the potential downsides.
We need to be proactive in advocating for ethical guidelines and regulations that ensure AI is used responsibly and for the benefit of all, not just a select few.
It seems like everywhere we turn, AI is making headlines, both for its amazing potential and for the ethical dilemmas it raises.
It's a double-edged sword, for sure. But that's what makes this field so fascinating. It's constantly evolving, pushing boundaries, and challenging us to rethink our relationship with technology.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, what are your final thoughts on the state of AI? What should our listeners be paying attention to in the coming months and years?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that AI is no longer a distant future. It's here, it's now, and it's impacting our lives in ways we're only just beginning to understand.
From talking pigs to self-driving cars, from international espionage to the very nature of intelligence itself, AI is touching every aspect of our world.
And that means we all have a stake in its development. We need to be informed, engage in critical discussions, and advocate for responsible AI development that aligns with our values and benefits humanity as a whole.
That's a great point. AI isn't just a technology, it's a reflection of ourselves, our aspirations, and our anxieties.
Exactly. And as AI continues to evolve, it's going to force us to ask some fundamental questions about what it means to be human.
What does it mean to be intelligent, to be creative, to make moral judgments? These are questions philosophers have been grappling with for centuries, but now they're taking on a whole new urgency in the age of AI.
It's an exciting and challenging time to be alive, that's for sure.
Well said. That's it for today's AI Daily Deep Dive. We've covered a lot of ground, but as always, there's so much more to explore.
Until next time, stay curious and keep asking those tough questions.
And if there's a particular AI development or story you'd like us to delve into, let us know. We're always listening. Thanks for joining us.